Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Shadow Davis Show for Wednesday, February the 11th, 2026. We are live on all the social media platforms tonight. So we're on Facebook, we're on Rumble, we're on X, we're on YouTube, we're on the website, shadowdavis.com, and we're also on Telegram, the Shadow at Night group in Telegram. If you're not a member of that, please go ahead and join. That's free, costs you nothing. If you're already on Telegram, why not come over and say hello? There's a great group of people over there. We're called the Nighthawks, and they are the ones who keep the show afloat on the website and in the Telegram group weeknights at 8 o'clock Central. Our guest tonight is Anita Krishna, independent journalist out of the Lower Mainland region of British Columbia. We're going to talk about the shooting at Tumbler Ridge. It happened yesterday. We're going to talk about the left-wing corporate media's reaction to it, political reaction to it. I know that the news is spread worldwide already. There's people talking about it in the UK, Australia, definitely in the United States. And they're all saying the same thing, that first, the RCMP was deliberately attempting to cover up the name of the shooter as of last night until one journalist, I don't know who it was or what outlet they were with, asked. So we understand that this shooter was identifying as trans. And finally, the RCMP answered the question. And for some reason, the left-wing corporate media did not reveal the name of the shooter or his sexual orientation until today, even though this happened yesterday at about 1:30 Mountain Time. So we're going to bring Anita on in just a second. Also, we have a lot to cover on the Epstein files. Pam Bondi testified at a House committee today. That was explosive. We've got video of that. But also Rep. Lauren Boebert. You see, these files haven't been fully redacted. Or unredacted. They've been semi-unredacted. And certain members of certain committees in the House and in the Senate have seen the unredacted versions of some of the emails and some of the video, and they've come out very, very disturbed. And Lauren Boebert was on Newsmax today, and she was talking about some of the things that she saw in these files. And we're going to get to that a little bit later on in the show tonight. We're going to bring on Anita Krishna in just a second. We'll be back in 60 seconds. There she is. It's been a while. Nice to see your face, Anita.
Nice to see your face. How are you doing, Mr.?
Very, very good. Thank you. This thing that happened yesterday, I know you've already done a piece on it on your channels. And that was what, last night you did this? How did you manage to get the information so quickly? It came out when I was on the air last night. One of my All Access members was talking about it in the Telegram group. And I went, what's this? I got the news, I put it on, and immediately, well, not immediately, but about 10 minutes after that, I had to shut down the show. I was so disturbed by what I saw. I couldn't even believe it.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
Where did you get your information from last night? Were you just cruising around X? I know you've got connections.
Well, yeah. Well, actually, yesterday I worked from home all day and I didn't really watch much television because I was so busy working. I didn't, I always have something going. I'm listening to something. I've always got my ear to the ground on something. And I really didn't yesterday. So I have to say, I did not even hear about this shooting. And
Mm.
so my kid came home from school and then I was working on a video that's going to come out about milk dumping. That was my story. I was like, okay, because we've Ontario farmers have dumped a lot of milk. So I was right into that story. And then when my son came home from school, he's 15. He's like, "Oh, guess what happened today in school?" And you know what? He didn't even say about the shooting. He started to tell me a story about how um his teacher showed him the Bad Bunny Super Bowl halftime show in school. That's what that's what he
Why would
yeah.
the teacher show the Bad Bunny halftime show? Like, what was the point to that?
Precisely, that's what he said, and,
I mean, it was terrible. Like the language the guy was using, it's a good thing it was in Spanish. A lot of
I
people
don't
didn't
even
understand it.
know.
Oh, you know what? There's some lyrics that
Yeah,
he was rapping out there, and
yeah.
look it up. You'll see. It's
Oh, somebody
disgusting.
somebody said that in the comment that the there was twerking, there was this, there was that, right? She's a very liberal type of teacher, as most of the teachers are, and he was like, my son doesn't agree with me about everything. He makes up his own mind, but he was absolutely incensed that they had to watch that. So I said, "You want to hop on my podcast and tell me about it?" So we were sitting here talking about Bad Bunny and immigration and the fact that, the ice out and, all that stuff, right? And then somebody calls my son, and then one of his friends was like, "Oh, did you hear about this Tumbler Ridge?" Then I shifted. I did milk dumping, I did the Bad Bunny, and then I was like, I gotta do this video. I have to put together something I can on Tumbler Ridge. And then I did. I looked up, I read articles, I found what I could. And then remember there was a picture circulating of somebody that wasn't the guy.
Yes.
So I had put that in my story, and then I didn't publish that, and then I found Drea had posted who the guy might be, and she had confirmed everything, and I thought, okay, and so I reported that with the caveat that I don't know, like that,
Yeah.
let's
This
let
is
them confirm.
very
Yeah,
new and subject to change. I mean, that's something
yeah,
that journalists will say when the story is developing, right? It's a developing story. This could
yeah.
be right. This might not be right. We're going to get everything right for you. But in the meantime, this is what we know.
This is what we know, this is what we see, these are what the reports are, and this is what people are saying. So, luckily, and I was up till, like, 2 in the morning, so luckily, my story still holds today. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't misreport anything, which is good.
Mark Carney and Pierre Polyev were obviously commenting about it this morning. I've got that for you guys. Have a look and let us know what you think in the comments. I'm going to ask Anita in just a second here.
Parents, sisters, brothers in Tumbler Ridge will wake up without someone they love. The nation mourns with you. Canada stands by you. I want to thank and pass on a number of world leaders who've reached out directly to me in solidarity and compassion. France, United Kingdom, His Majesty himself, Norway, Finland, India, United Arab Emirates, many others. The world is with you. I have spoken to Premier Eby. Minister of Public Safety has been engaged, as have many Canadian officials over the evening. Minister of Public Safety is en route to British Columbia. He and the Premier will be visiting the community. All assistance, obviously, will be offered. We thank the first responders, the teachers, the staff, the residents, for everything that they've done in this terrible situation. On the advice of the Clerk of the Privy Council and Heritage Canada, I've asked that the flags in the Peace Tower here and across all government buildings be flown at half-mast for the next 7 days. We will get through this, we will learn from this, but right now it's a time to come together, as Canadians always do in these situations, these terrible situations, to support each other, to mourn together, and to grow together.
Thank you very much, everyone. Obviously, we are all devastated by the news of this appalling shooting in Tumbler Ridge the fact that this took place at a secondary school, it makes it even more tragic. As a father, I can't even imagine the phone calls that parents might have received. I can't imagine the heartache and hell that they're living through at this moment. This is a time for all Canadians to unite, to support the families and the community at large. We'll be in touch with the Prime Minister and the other parties later today to offer all of our support to work together and help the community in any way we can in this terrible time. I encourage all Canadians to pray for the community and pray for the family as we go forward and take the necessary steps to support them. Thank you very much.
What's your take?
I have to say that I watched a bit of them in the House of Commons too, and it was the kindest they had ever been to each other. They actually cut out all the crap and said their condolences with the grief and the dignity that it deserves, right? So they were both well behaved. So I was impressed with that, and that is probably the most human I've ever seen Mark Carney ever. He looks really, like you said, that he looked like he was going to cry, and he does literally look like he was going to cry.
His eyes were watering.
Yeah.
But okay, so
why do you think?
I don't know. This is going to sound very jaded.
Okay.
I don't trust the guy. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, it's the next morning. And I totally understand how devastating this is. I get it. I mean, I'm not without emotion about this. Like I said, I had to shut the show down pretty early last night because of this news. But you're the Prime Minister of the country. You're addressing the media and by extension, the entire country. You're crying. And I'm looking at that going, is that even real? Like, or is he like been rubbing his eyes furiously to try and generate some kind of tears? I mean, it just looked to me, in the next morning, you should be stoic, feeling, but crying like that, I don't know. It just seemed a little bit over the top to me. And again, maybe I'm just being a little too hard on the guy. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. I don't think he's an actor. I'm not here to defend him because I find him extremely unlikable and a terrible prime minister. But it seemed a bit genuine to me. And could it be that it's because he has a trans daughter?
You see, that's the other thing. That's the other thing.
That's another thing. Yeah.
We didn't. None of them brought it up today, and I get it. It's the day after. You don't want to go bringing that stuff too early, you know, like people telling jokes and all of that. But no, it's not too early, because this whole trans ideology is the reason that this happened in the first place, in my opinion. This was a very troubled young man who identified, I'm assuming now, for the past 6 years, according to what the RCMP officer said, the past 6 years, he had been identifying as a female on social media and whatnot, and was on puberty blockers, different kinds of drugs. And we understand now, Nicholas Holscher is an epidemiologist with the, who's he with again?
I don't know.
Let me see if I can find this here, because
I don't. So was he on these HRTs, these hormone replacement therapies?
According to the posts, now Dan Dix did a screenshot of this kid's YouTube before it was taken down. Okay. And he was talking, like the kid himself was talking about the different kinds of drugs that he was on. I believe SSTs are one of them. So Dr. Nicholas Holscher, an epidemiologist with the Peter McCullough Foundation, here's what he has to say about that stuff.
School shootings, you know, like all these different crazy crimes that were committed were actually committed by transgender people.
Most transgender individuals are taking hormone therapy, right? So they are taking synthetic hormones, which will alter their psychological profiles. Many of them are taking what's called SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, as a form of antidepressant. These increase homicidal risks and basically make them want to murder at a higher rate. You have that, but then you also have surgery. So when they go get surgery, they do become self-mutilated, right? And it's irreversible. And the outcomes for these surgeries are increased mortality risks, increased suicide risks. And so, yeah, the evidence backs up why we see transgender individuals who undergo mutilation surgeries do have a very high risk of suicide, and thus, and they also take these SSRIs, they can have a high chance of going to conduct a mass shooting like we recently saw. And so this madness of advocating for irreversible surgeries and synthetic hormone therapies for young individuals needs to stop.
Yeah. So there's that. There was a couple of videos put out by the rainbow community today, the LGBTQs, and they were suggesting that this kid may have been the victim of bullying. It's a small town, right? I mean, 2,500 people, and it's way up north. It's very remote. It's along the Alberta border. I mean, people there in a town like that are not going to be as cosmopolitan thinking as you would see in a greater Vancouver or Toronto. And so that may have been the case. But because you're bullied, it's still not an excuse to take out a rifle and shoot at a school and kill your own mother and stepbrother.
That's right. Well, there's a lot here, right? Like, I think what people are doing, I think maybe we can talk about this a little bit, is like, just because this kid was trans, does that mean that we can't lump all trans in that they're all mass shooters, right?
No.
I mean, that's not what's going to happen. They're not all violent. Like, one person that does that in the community doesn't reflect all of what's going on in the community, although that narrative is getting pushed hard. Look at these trans people. But let's examine the trans people a little bit. Like, you're like this kid, for example, small town, not much to do. His mother was very pro-trans, and a lot of these liberal women like to get on that because it makes them feel good. It gives them a purpose. It gives them, like they liked all the drag queen story stuff. It was like, it made them think that they were good and that they weren't the bigots, right? So there's that going on. But these kids that take like SSRIs, antidepressants, this kid was on mushrooms. This kid was very into anime. And this kid, I've heard him somewhere say, like on one of these posts or something, that he was tall and that was good. But I heard him say, would my body be a good body type to get on hormone replacement therapy, HRT, right? Will it give me a chest? The problem is that this thing has become a thing. The problem isn't the trans kids. The problem is the school and the government and CBC promoting these kinds of things. There's cartoons on the CBC, like on CBC Kids, about this stuff. So you take a kid dejected, maybe you're bored. Also, you live in a small town. I live outside of Vancouver. I can go to Vancouver. I can have big city life, if you call that big city. I can go anywhere. I can go to Seattle. You're up in Tumbler Ridge. You have nothing to do. You are bored. You are looking for something. And then you're looking for community, and you're looking for community because the world around you is saying, hey, there's a chance you're not the gender you were assigned at birth. And it's not only, right? It's not only the school saying this, the government is saying this, is everywhere. The government is supporting this.
You see, there's no pushback, right?
Yeah.
So you're absolutely correct when you say the media, the government, they're all over this gender affirming care nonsense. The school system, obviously, big pharma, let's not forget them. But if you speak up against it as a therapist, a teacher, a parent, because of C4, right, you can be arrested for that. I mean, we've had cases where fathers have said, no, you're not trans. And then the father winds up getting fined and thrown in jail.
Yeah.
So,
how ridiculous is that?
And the other problem that we face with that is that the liberals, they're the ones that push that under Justin Trudeau. It's law, right?
Yeah.
What do they call it? What's the law called?
Oh,
it's so stupid.
The law, yeah. What the
therapy? Conversion therapy law.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you are a psychiatrist and you're trying to get to the root causes of this problem, why this boy thinks he's a girl, right? Now you're trying to convert them from what they are, and that's not allowed under the law in Canada. So
Yeah,
you
and I don't
can't
think
do that.
I think we need to stress that very hard, that it is against the law, against that bill C4, to give your kid maybe the appropriate therapy to maybe get them out of this phase of thinking they're born in the wrong body.
Yeah, but
You
you
know,
can't even say it to them yourself as their parent, because then you're in violation of the law. Now, the problem with it is that the Liberals pushed it and the Conservatives backed it up. It was voted through unanimously in the House of Commons.
that's
The
a huge
Conservatives backed
problem.
that. Huge problem.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, during the Conservative convention in Calgary, that issue came up again. We want to put this on our platform, right? So they had a vote amongst all of the delegates who were there. 52% said, no, we got to push back on this. But they didn't get their 2/3 supermajority, and so it stayed off their policy platform, meaning that they still officially support conversion therapy law. Or
Oh,
right? So
no.
what can Polyev do now? Like, what would the next political move be for him? I mean, clearly his base is going to be screaming at him that this has got to go.
This has got to go. I will not. You will not have my vote. Okay, you won't have my vote. Like, that's it. You have to say we're not. I don't know what we have to do. We have to have a vote revolt. We're damned if we do, damned if we don't. You don't get my vote if you do not push back on a law like this. You're born a woman, born a man. That doesn't mean to. We understand if they're the odd child that has some sort of confusion. This is contagion. What they're doing.
It's
Yeah.
totally social contagion.
Social contagion, and it's what do you call, supported by online world and TikTok and anime and what do you call, the Discord groups and the chat. You can fall into that world. Look at us, we can fall into a world. Our algorithm dictates our worldview sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And
But
we
ultimately, if you're
yeah.
able to step back from all of this stuff, right, and just look at
We
something
are.
logically, right? Like, you just look at it logically. But no, boys cannot be girls. Where did you get this idea from?
But the fact that they go ahead. Yeah.
No, you finish. Go ahead.
Oh, the fact that they teach you're the teachers of my kids. They say, you're not you're assigned. You're not what you're assigned, or you're not necessarily the gender you are assigned at birth.
You see, that whole assignment thing is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. It's like, okay, so he was assigned. No, it's a fact. It's a biological fact that you're male, you're female. Hello, that's it. Oh yeah, but gender is in the brain. Gender is how you feel. And so it's fluid. That's their whole argument is just based in feelings and not facts. And the one thing that I did agree with Ben Shapiro on when he talked about this 5 or 6 years ago is that, facts don't care about your feelings.
Yeah.
And these kids need to be told a hard truth, or else you're just enabling a problem. And that's what the government has been doing with the drug thing, with this gender thing. And it needs to stop, because this is the end result. What happened in Tumbler Ridge, Anita?
Because it makes you mental. You think, like, I'm sure a lot of us know alcoholics, and sometimes you look at them and go, you're crazy. You're like the Tasmanian devil. Now think of a kid like this with video games, with guns, being on SSRIs, doing mushrooms, smoking dope, doing whatever. You're messed up. And he knows how to use guns. That boy would have been a proper boy. That boy would have been a boy raised in the wilderness in like a rustic environment. Apparently, the family knew about guns, right? And somewhere along the way, something got seeped into his mind to make him like this. But not every trans person is going to be a killer. This guy went over the edge, right? Like, I think, I guess there's been so many trans shootings now, or trans adjacent. I guess you could say the Charlie Kirk guy was trans adjacent,
right?
Or whatever. That's a new term. And, you got to stop and think. The liberals and the left are more violent, more jerks than I've ever seen. Anytime I go to a rally, it's the liberals yelling in my face, chasing me, blowing the blowhorns, blowing the whistle.
You were at UBC, weren't you?
I was at UBC, yeah.
I want to talk about that later if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah.
Don't let me forget.
Okay.
Look at this. Andy you're familiar with him, right? Independent journalist who's almost been beaten to death a couple of times by Antifa. He posted this on X. Canadian Police Deputy Commissioner Dwayne McDonald said they referred to the trans mass killer of children as a female because that's how he identified. In Canada, wokeness is in. This was it. It stung because coming from Andy No, who I have tremendous respect for, in Canada, wokeness is institutionalized as state religion, and it may be illegal to be transphobic. Here is the video of Deputy Commissioner Dwayne McDonald talking about just this.
World reports coming out from the media, not local but world, and we've heard people from Tumbler Ridge, actually people that know the shooter, and they are all saying that this person is transgender. Why is the RCMP not speaking to this? Why are we hiding this from them?
Anita, do you recognize the voice there?
Oh,
journalist?
I could have. No, I didn't offhand. I didn't
Okay.
offhand, but sometimes I'm good at that.
I was gonna, did I play it again? Would you get that voice? I guess probably not, but
Sometimes they identify themselves. Like obviously she didn't.
well, maybe she did, but the video
Yeah.
didn't catch it. But I don't, you know, I'm thinking, what left-wing
Yeah.
corporate media reporter would ask that question? That had to be a Rebel News or a Juno News person.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
let's continue.
Well, first off, thank you for your question. We're not hiding it. In fact, you're the first media to ask the question. I will say,
So why does media have to ask before the RCMP reports on this?
Mm.
All right, we'll
say
continue.
this. We identify the suspect as they chose to be identified in public and in social media. I can say that Jesse was born as a biological male who approximately, the information that I have, approximately 6 years ago began to transition to female and identified as female both socially and publicly.
Unfortunately, we've heard a lot of transgender and mass shootings. Do you think there's a correlation here?
It's too early to say whether that has any correlation in this investigation. I think it's important to recognize that this investigation is still in its infancy. We have scenes still lock down the school and the residence while we execute search warrants and gather further evidence and talk to witnesses that may have further evidence for police.
So what do you think of that? Like the reports in the beginning were like woman with brown hair.
Yeah, woman, not a woman.
No.
In a dress, I believe, was also in the description. Perhaps it's just this RCMP officer trying to be respectful of the family, and that's me being generous.
Yeah.
But I also called him a coward on X today.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not there because he has no support. He works for the government. Like he works for the RCMP, Royal Canadian Mounties or whatever, and they have a woke policy. It's in law. So he cannot go, oh, the suspect, yeah, he was 6 feet tall. He can't say that. He has to say she. And every time he says she, we're like, what are you talking about? Right?
Yeah.
Because he can't.
Wouldn't
He
you
can't
think
say
though
that.
wouldn't you think that he would have some sort of a twitch the second he said it? Like I would. I mean, if it was me and if I was forced to do that for my job and then my pension later on, I just wouldn't be able to physically get the words out without some sort of weird.
I
quirk
would
happening.
just say she, or I would just say he. I would just say the pronoun. I wouldn't. And so, what do you think about him having to say, "Look, we respect what the person was transitioning into"? Like that has to stop. That has to stop. And the RCMP needs to be supported. He can't be standing there alone. Like the RCMP has to come together. Everybody has to now recognize the damage. Like we are not bigots. We support and love you no matter what you think you want to be, but we will not support this lunacy, drugging kids, operations, hormone blockers. Okay, I'm not supporting this. I'm not supporting teachers telling my kids, which I had to fight against them telling this that, assigned at birth crap, right? Imagine if my kids are older. Imagine if your kid is 5, they go to kindergarten and that's what the teacher's saying. Shame on the teachers and shame on the RCMP. If these buggers don't all come together and say, okay, we're not doing this anymore. This didn't work out. And then now do you do with all the kids that got butchered?
Here's an interesting thing. In the United States, aside from some pockets in blue states, I would say, this whole ideology, just like the climate ideology, is pretty much gone by the wayside, right? Because of the Trump administration, they're not following all this nonsense, and they've outlawed a lot of it, as a matter of fact. And yet, here we are in Canada, which is like right there, And we're still following this net zero nonsense. The government announcing yesterday they're going to spend $84 million on new charging stations across the country because net zero.
God.
And they're still all behind this radical gender ideology. I mean, Billboard Chris is at a loss with this stuff. He was irate last week or 2 weeks ago at the conservative convention in Calgary. But how is it that, we're so Americanized in Canada? And we are. I mean, how many people went to a Super Bowl party last week or last weekend? I mean, there's thousands of them. Probably the same elbows up crowd that says Trump sucks and U.S. sucks.
Yeah.
But, so we get all of this American information, and yet somehow we say isolated from their policies, like the gender thing. Or is it a huge silent majority in this country who believe it's nonsense but are too scared to say anything?
That's it.
Just like
It's the-
COVID.
It's like that. It is like that. I don't know why we're so scared. I mean, like people like you and me, we don't get that because we have voices, we're outspoken, we're broadcasters, and we've sort of gone our own way because the woke broadcasting won't have us and we don't want to be with them. But I am always amazed why people just don't speak their mind. They're so silent. They are terrified to sound like they're not being nice, but how long are we going to put up with that? I feel that is changing a little bit. That kind of talk is changing, but God, not that much. And if the institutions don't support it, then you have to go out on your own. But that's because Trump doesn't care. He's like, I don't like this boy and girl thing. He just is like, I don't support it. He doesn't have any fear of saying the wrong thing. Okay. Yeah. We Canadians have a big fear of, saying the wrong thing and stepping on someone's toes. I don't care if I step on your toes, if you're wrong. And if I think you're wrong, but this is harmful. What we do to the children is absolutely harmful. And the main thing is, what are we going to do about it? I will not vote for anybody that supports this. And you better come out and say this. I actually want a little bit more from the conservatives. I think Pierre has got a very fine line to walk, right? He doesn't want to be Trumpy. He doesn't want, it's very difficult for him to navigate, I would say.
Well, okay. So then you've got Maxime Bernier, who seems to be the only political. Now, PPC, I don't trust any political party. And this is the evolution of my thinking in the last few years. But he's the only one who has said anything about this at all. And he said the horrific shooting in Tumbler Ridge is a real tragedy. 9 innocent lives were lost, including those of children, and 25 others were injured in one of the deadliest attacks in our history. There is still a 12-year-old girl, by the way, who's just had surgery in Vancouver. She was flown to Vancouver with gunshot wounds to the head and to the neck. We don't know if she's going to make it. Billboard Chris is doing updates on social media. But let's speak the truth that the establishment media refuses to acknowledge. The shooter was a trans-identified male, falsely described as female. He was lost in a delusion fueled by a radical ideology that contradicts basic biological reality. How many more must die before we end this toxic ideology? Trans ideology isn't liberation. It's a path to psychosis, and affirming it prevents real help from reaching those who need it most. Look at the pattern unfolding in the West. Aberdeen, Club Q, Highlands Ranch, Annunciation Catholic School, Covenant School, and now Tumbler Ridge. This is an epidemic of trans-identified violence, and it won't stop until we change course. Liberals, fake conservatives, and every member of parliament have voted unanimously for C4 in 2021, which criminalizes parents and therapists who try to help minors with gender dysphoria accept who they are. It's illegal to treat children for a mental disorder, but it's legal to encourage them to undergo gender-affirming therapy and mutilate their body with harmful drugs or surgeries. We've let a cult take over our society, where even police cannot call a man a man. Our children are paying the ultimate price for this cowardice. Our position, PPC, on transgender ideology is clear and unwavering. We must modify the criminal code to outlaw the use of puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and any form of bodily mutilation on minors with the goal of transitioning to another sex. Moreover, any person encouraging minors to transition shall be held criminally responsible for attempting to cause harm. We must also remove the ban imposed by Bill C4 on helping minors who suffer from gender dysphoria accept their bodies. If a child expresses confusion about their gender, we must show real compassion and tell them they are perfect as they are. No need to change names, bodies, or lives to be loved. Affirming delusions is neglect, not care. My thoughts are for the victims, their families, and the Tumbler Ridge community. May this senseless tragedy spark a return to common sense. Let's make Canada safe again by facing the truth. You know, that is one of the best things I have ever heard out of that man.
Yeah.
He's said a lot of things that have made sense.
He always says the things. He always says the things that we want to hear. Unfortunately, he's not in power. Unfortunately,
Well, he's never even come close to winning a seat is the problem. So when you talk about the problem that Pierre Poilievre has in addressing this, you know, Maxime Bernier is not at all shy to come out and say the truth. That's what the truth is.
So Canadians aren't ready for this. So Canadians have shown they're not ready for real talk. So if Pierre came out and said, look, I need to do this with oil and gas, that's the way it is. Look, that vaccine thing was a mess. We got to fix that. Look, the slaying of the ostriches was completely stupid, and we need to look into that. The trans stuff, actually, he did say something about boys and girls. I believe there are two genders. Keep going with that and keep pushing with that. The Conservatives have to say.
You mean like a couple of years ago when he was asked that question in the hallway in Parliament? Yeah, I remember that. And he said, I believe that there are two genders. And that was all he said. He looked uncomfortable when he said it. And then he took off for the doors as quickly as he could. I remember that.
Pierre?
Yeah.
Oh, he was on a newscast too, and the anchor asked him, and he said, "No, I believe there are two genders." So he did say that. That's when he was kind of hot, when the Liberals were just going down the toilet, you know, and then he looked like primed to win. I love the fact because I think he had confidence then, and we backed him, and the Liberals were so done you couldn't lose it. But then came Carney. Justin Trudeau resigned. Then came Carney or whatever. But yeah, I agree. Like, you know, I love his straight talk, but now it didn't work for him. Now he's got to, like, you know, it's not that it didn't work. It's the media spun Carney. And
how is it that the media is able to brand somebody so quickly? And I mean, like, seriously.
Yeah, it takes nothing.
If you look at a guy like Maxime Bernier, for example, I mean, like, he was labeled as a far-right extremist pretty much out the gate. The second that he broke away from the Conservative Party and formed his own thing, they labeled him. They labeled him. And since then, he hasn't been able to do anything. Now, I don't, you know, he ran for a seat in a by-election in Manitoba. And it was the one riding where PPC actually performed well. I think it was in the 2019 election or maybe the 2021 election. I can't remember which. But the kid who was running for PPC actually performed better than Bernier did. And the reason I heard, it was a rural riding. The reason I heard from the people who lived there was, we don't trust this guy.
Oh.
So he's got the right ideas, it appears, but there's something about him that just doesn't connect. I can't figure it out. You know, maybe in the West, it's that French accent he can't shake.
Yeah, it could be that, and the media obviously won't support him, and he can't gain any traction, and then we don't take him seriously because he's always on the periphery, and then he lives in the States somewhere. But it's not to say that he hasn't said great things. Every time I hear him in an interview, I'm like, yeah, that's bang on. But you know, I agree with his ideology, and it's going to be difficult for Pierre if most Canadians aren't ready. Most liberal Canadians obviously can't stand Pierre. They don't like him at all.
Do you think I mean, I think there's going to be a spring election. I've been saying this for the last month and a half, 2 months. I've seen the signs of it. And you know, I'm sure you have too now in the last little while. But I mean, is there any chance that by saying something like that Maxime Bernier could actually break through? Not to say he's going to win, but could he break through? Or could this, like what he said, could that force Poilievre into a situation where he has to say something about this? I mean, I'm sure there's all kinds of planning going on in the Conservative war room right now.
If the media portrayed these people accurately with no bias, then yes, it's entirely possible. But without the media's backing, you have nothing because you're swimming upstream. And it is all the fault of the media. I'm like, well, I was one of them. Like, if you say you watch a newscast, the late night newscast or whatever, or the 6 o'clock, you got CTV, CBC, Global, the big three. If they're not, if I don't know how big they are now. If they actually just polished the script just a little bit and just showed the right shots and did a little piece on Bernier, that would change the mindset. You would take 2 minutes. And if they did that for Pierre, it would take 2 minutes. This delusional thinking is all the media. All the
It's
media.
interesting you say that.
Mhm.
Polish this, polish that, because that nurse that was shot in Minneapolis a couple of weeks ago, you saw what the media.
Oh, yeah. They prettied him up, Alex
Yeah.
Pretty. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
he had this long, narrow face, and they kind of shortened it a little bit. They gave him a better complexion. His eyes were more sparkly. He had
They made him better
haircut.
looking.
Yeah.
Because he
Yeah.
looked like a little toad before. And I mean, I don't want to speak ill of him, but
You're
look,
right. He did.
he did. He was not a good-looking guy. They
No.
polished him up. He's the nurse. Every clip on mainstream was like you couldn't have a bad thing to say about him. He was the world's greatest guy. He was a nurse. Did you ever see on mainstream media him spitting and kicking the tail lights and
Nope.
all that?
Nope.
Never.
Nope.
Never. They cut
Nope.
that part out. And had they put that part in and just been the neutral people, just told us what happened, showed us it in context, nobody would be delusional.
You see what they
Yeah.
did to Polyev? I think it was last week. I can't remember. Toronto Star. They turned him green. Like he was green. The Conservative Party actually put a side-by-side shot up of the real and then the filtered one that the Star ran. And he was green. And of course, the facial expression was like, "Gah!" Because he was, responding to something that Carney had said in the House of Commons. And so he had a little bit of fire in him. He had that. Of course, they got that picture. They made him green, or maybe it was gray, but they turned it. They actually changed his complexion noticeably.
Yeah.
And that's what they do.
That's what they do. It's so bad. I never saw anybody at Global turn someone green, but you certainly choose the right shots. You certainly choose. Every shot is chosen. Like every shot is cut in a way to form your bias. Like I might, we make thumbnails. We might choose a shot that because we know what we're doing, right? So it's all going to frame how you think. And if the media doesn't frame things right for Polyev, all it takes is for the media to do something, because people go, "Oh, did you watch the news last night?" People
Here's
still do
Nancy
this
said
stuff.
they turned him, or it was orange.
Oh. They turned him Trumpy.
Yeah.
They tried to make him Trumpy. Oh God. And so what?
You know what? I don't know if Polyev is ever going to address this. And I don't know if, and ultimately it needs to be Carney. As you correctly point out at the beginning of the show, this guy has got a trans daughter or son or whatever it is. I don't know. So he is going to
female
stick
to
with
male.
it. Yeah. Okay. So female daughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's going to stay with this. And it's up to us. I mean, how much penetration do you think left-wing corporate media still has? Does it have as much as it did 5 years ago? And I know this is only a field question. It's not about statistics or anything, but what's your impression?
Oh, that's such a good question. I work with normies. I work with normal people who are absolutely shocked if I say I like Donald Trump. I like Pierre Poilievre. They bristle. Their body changes. And they don't know anything about anything going on. They only know what the news says. But then a lot of normal people say, "Well, I don't watch the news." Well, what do you watch then to form your opinions, right? So I think the COVID stuff, nobody was sure what was happening. People like us figured it out, and then now the news is coming back up again. But I think people are still believing the news. The penetration probably died by 20%. But
That's not enough.
That's not enough. It's not enough. And they're still so biased. Donna Friesen is biased. Vashti Capellos pretends to be on your side, and she is not. CBC is never going to be on your side.
Never.
I'm actually stunned that they put that one Kate Harrison on Power and Politics, the one pundit who kind of lets them have it. I'm surprised they even book her, but they have to book somebody.
But even these conservatives they put on their panels are not really conservatives, or they're Eastern conservatives. They just don't.
Yeah, we're
It's
in a
weird.
we're in such a mess, and I'm so sick of being looked at sideways when I say things. Like, like nobody knows anything I'm talking about. My best girlfriend, I saw her the other day. She'd never heard of the Minnesota Somalians.
She never heard of
She never heard of the story. I go, did you not hear about all the fraud? That Minnesota fraud. Even if you hear it from mainstream, she never heard of him. She never heard of Nick Shirley.
wow. So, this is actually quite alarming to me.
But she did hear. She goes, well, Anita, ICE arrested a 5-year-old. I'm like, they did not arrest a 5-year-old. You know that story, right?
I know that the
Yeah.
father took off and left the kid alone.
How come
and-
you know that?
Because I follow news, like actual news.
I know. She had no clue. She's like, you know what, Anita, they arrested a 5-year-old, and that's not good. I go, don't you understand what ICE is doing and what's going on? She never heard of this. I said, you must. Why? Like,
When
that's-
you tell one of these normies, or as some of my people call them, they say zombies. That's what they are pretty much, right? Like when you tell them that Barack Obama, ICE under Barack Obama, arrested and deported 400,000 or 500,000 illegal aliens during his 2 years or 2 terms in office, they don't even bristle. It's like,
no.
Oh, well, I guess they deserved it. Donald Trump has deported half of them under ICE. Oh, he's a monster. Like, what the hell?
What the hell? Because it's not real. What we're saying isn't real. That's the problem. Like, it didn't happen. They didn't hear about it, so it didn't happen. And they just look at you like that. Like, it didn't happen.
What makes it real, though? Like, what makes it real for these people?
Yeah.
Hearing it on the news?
Nothing. I gotta say, my friend, she's a very normal person. I've talked about her before and her husband, but she doesn't watch, so it doesn't matter. But she's my closest, oldest friend, but she's the most normal person I know. And she got an AstraZeneca, a Moderna, and a Pfizer shot. She got the triple jab, and then she went out and got 2 shingle shots after. I'm like, what are you doing? You're my best friend. I've told you all about the vaccines. You've known me from before I even started working at Global. But she just can't see it because she comes home and she watches the Gilmore Girls with her daughter or whatever, right? Whatever. But I kid you not, her husband's health isn't doing so great because he had the same jabs. I'll make a long story short, but their father-in-law is elderly and he's like 80 something. His health isn't very good, but they took him last month to get him all ready for flu season. So they gave him a flu shot and a COVID shot.
Has your best friend ever, or her husband or her dad ever suffered any kind of ill effects, or is there something?
Yes. They are sick. They have Crohn's disease. The husband does.
Never had it before?
Never had it before. And they're
Crohn's is an autoimmune, by the way. That's one of the things that
it comes from that too, doesn't it? The jibber jabber. Yeah. And one of their best friends lives with them in the basement, and she's like one of their best friends. She's like 60 or something like that. I think she's had every booster that you can get. And one of their other friends has had every booster you can get. And I'm like, what are you doing? You are the most normal. What are you doing in 2026, man? Doing this. But the friend is dying. Like, the friend is lost like 60 pounds, but she keeps getting boosters, and she'll literally go, I got my flu shot. I got my COVID shot. I'm ready for flu season. And she's dying. Like, she's lost all this weight. She looks like Kelly Osbourne right now. She looks like that. Ozempic.
Do they know why? Has she been to the doctor about this?
The doctors don't say, but the doctors never say, look, it's because you took 6, 7 COVID
Of course
jabs.
they wouldn't say that, but
Yeah.
like, are they puzzled? I don't know what's wrong with her. Can't figure it out.
Well, I said to my friend, what does she say? And she goes, she doesn't say anything about it. She doesn't say anything about why she's lost this weight. And then my friend, speaking of being a Canadian being scared, my friend is like, well, I can't tell her. It's her choice. I can't tell my father-in-law. It's her choice. Can't you say something by now? She's going to die. So these people are done. If it doesn't take, your friend is dying in front of you. Anita is your best friend. And I lost my job speaking up about this. If that doesn't convince you, nothing will convince you. I
So
can't. Yeah.
is it that they're not convinced, or that they don't want to leave what they perceive to be this comfy existence that they have?
It's
Or they
that.
don't want to admit that they're wrong publicly, even though they
yeah.
know. I mean, I get the sense, Anita, that these people know that there's something the matter. I mean, how can you not know, right? Just you feel it, this tension everywhere, right? It's just in the air. It's palpable in a lot of situations. So you just feel it.
Yeah.
Like an animal senses fear or like
Yeah.
danger, but
Not
they
in
don't.
their not in their friend group, because even one of their friends has had 6 or 7 jabs. Like in their friend group, they're still
Yeah.
getting them. These people need to be in a science. These people are a science experiment. I can't hang around with these people. I look at me, how anti-vax I am. I cannot, and they're delusional, and it's not real because they come on and they turn on the news.
Yeah.
Okay,
Is there
so-
any situation
Mhm.
where you can hang out with these folks and not talk about anything really important?
No,
Is-
you're
no?
not talking. You're talking. No, no. You're talking about stupid shit all the time, like 90 Day Fiance.
Oh,
You know that
God.
show. Okay.
I know that's the worst.
You're talking about like just stuff, and then one of their friends hadn't heard of Jordan Peterson. This was a couple of years ago. I was like, wow, okay. Like I don't know, they're in a different world. So these are your liberal Canadians.
You know, but Leanne says we've missed you at our bonfires.
Oh, Leanne?
Yeah.
Oh, hi, yeah. Oh, she's Leanne is always, she's one of those fighters. She's always there at every event in BC.
Yeah.
She's pretty awesome.
I
Yeah.
get that impression. I saw Del Bigtree say
Oh,
this.
okay.
You said that we're in different worlds, kind of like an expression, throwaway expression. But the way he explained it, it was like, I live in a different world than they live in, right? Where they live in La La Land, where I used to live, where the news still means something and sports are important and all of that stuff, right? That world that we came out of.
Mhm.
And now we're in this, which is okay. I mean, I like it. I've made a lot of new friends like this, like you.
Yeah.
And I just I can't go back to it.
I can't go back.
Like
I
there are
can't.
times,
I can't.
there are times I can go back and hang out with a couple of buddies of mine, summer times, and maybe, important holidays. We get together. We go out and play golf or something in the summer, right? And we talk about golf. Like it's not anything really heavy. Like not this. If it comes up, they'll listen to me and occasionally look at me like I've got an extra head right here.
They do still, even to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm coming at them with nothing but facts, but I always ask them questions.
Yeah.
Why do you think this is happening? What's your take on it? I don't know. I never really thought about it before.
Yeah.
Well, could you do me a favor and think about it?
Yeah. It's 2026.
Yeah.
You must catch up now.
Like
That's my message.
we've got a trans shooting in a small town in British Columbia because this kid was on all of these drugs and I'm not going to say crazy, disturbed up here for years. And I'm sure people could see this coming. Apparently, some of the people in town said that he had a violent history.
Yeah, well, the police have been called to the house a few times for issues of mental health. That he's on this medication, but the mother was very pro all this stuff, and then but also allowed the kid to be near guns. And I don't know how you shoot that many people. And like, I'm praying for this 12-year-old girl who her name is Maya Gabala. And I pray this little girl lives. I see her mother. I see a picture of her on her bedside, a hospital bed. So what right do you have to destroy that family like that? This little kid. I understand the kid had his own pain. Okay. You're messed up. You know what? And in a way, we can say society did you wrong. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are saying he is a piece of shit. I guess he is. Of course he is. But society did him wrong because he's 17 or 18.
Society does us all wrong.
Yeah.
right? I mean, we all get screwed
Yeah.
over. It doesn't mean you can grab a gun and
Gun
shoot
and kill
25 people.
somebody. Yeah.
Let,
But
let
like
me
yeah.
let me play this for you. This
Yeah.
was put out by a Canadian lesbian earlier today.
Oh, okay.
And she claims that the first victim in all of this was the shooter. Watch this.
Yeah.
As a person
her.
who went to school, had hateful comments directed my way, the first victim of this tragedy was the shooter. And you can disagree all you want. But that person did not just decide one day that it was the day. It was the day that they could not take it any longer. I know it's a small community, but you know what also comes with a small community? A small mindset.
Okay. So you know what? I can't take any more of that, but I just wanted to play it because we know that that's the narrative they're going to try to drive.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm not thinking clearly. Like, obviously, it's not justified what he did, but I do think that that is a messed up kid who didn't maybe have guidance or love or things like that. Not that everybody does too. I'm sure you had a tough life. I had a tough
We
life.
all had it. You know what?
all
I
had a tough
totally
life.
understand what you were saying. I get
Yeah,
it.
you know what I
completely.
mean. Like, I wish that the school didn't do him wrong, that the medical community didn't give him whatever they gave him. That
His
he
own
didn't,
mother. I
yeah,
mean, like
his
the
own
kid
mother.
had never.
Yeah.
Kid never had a chance. The kid never
That's-
had a chance to be
yeah.
normal, right? And well,
That's
what's
right.
normal these days? Normal means that basically, you can be anything you want to be, except the opposite sex. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah,
can't be a cat or a dog either, because that's a whole different life form, right? You are who you
Yeah.
are. You're beautiful as you are. You are the way God intended you to be.
right.
Live your
Yeah.
life in that particular set of parameters.
And that kid probably would have been good to be a shooter like that. That he could have been something else, not being a messed up anime kid, right? He could have been in the military or been a Marx. I don't know. He could have done
been anything.
something.
I mean,
could have been anything.
Just
Yeah.
bad direction. Bad
Yeah.
direction. And I'm really curious going forward as to what Pierre Poilievre may say or do. I mean, you can understand that, like I said, they're going to be plotting this, and they're going to have to, as you point out, be very careful with their wording on this. But they're going to have to say something, because half of their base, according to that convention a couple of weeks ago, wants them to oppose C4. And if they lose half their base, where are those people going to go? They're either not going to vote or they're going to vote PPC. That's what's going to happen in this spring election that's coming up. Let me ask you this. I had Dallas Brody on last week. I had Jim McMurtry on, and I had James Davison, our friend James. And they talked about their experience at UBC and then the University of Fraser Valley. I think it was the next week where they were accosted more, I guess, violently at UBC. Fraser Valley wasn't so bad. That one kid yelling, "Fuck you, Nazi! that one kid.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. It's like he was programmed like some kind of a robot, right?
Yeah.
But the UBC thing, you were there. What was that all about? What was that like?
Oh, I got there. Like, I missed you saw all the stuff with her.
Frances Whittison. Yeah.
Frances Whittison getting picked up, lifted up, and arrested. One thing I found is all the people that were native that I talked to actually are for Frances. They actually don't have this woke ideology. The native people, I interviewed people, right? Yeah. So
It's interesting you say that. I go, I never even thought of that. Wow. You see, that's me guilty of thinking that everybody from the same background is thinking the same way. And that's wrong.
I think a lot of native people are embarrassed of all this. They don't want all this, and they are very irate with their chiefs, but they have a lot of pressure in their communities to not speak up about it. Like the chiefs take all this what's happening, the DRIPA UNDRIP thing is a big problem of the government and the native bands. Again, this is the government destroying us from the inside out. That's what's going on. But when I got to the UBC, oh my God, everybody was yelling and screaming. Half the people look like paid protesters. They were not students there. I'm up there running around trying to talk to everybody, blowing the whistles. I go, you call yourself a man blowing a whistle? A real man doesn't blow a whistle.
I got to tell you, you guys watching this right now, some people are watching on your channel, and that's great. But Anita is fearless. She's fearless. She has no fear whatsoever. Like, what are you, 5'3"?
5'2".
5'2". She's tiny. She walks into a situation where there's people yelling and screaming and blowing whistles, megaphones, the whole 9 yards. You know, the Antifa thing. And yet she just walks up to him and says, you think you're a man? I love you.
I do. I'm just like, a real man doesn't do that. I don't have any fear of people, which is probably stupid. But by the time I got there, the Francis Dallas Brody, Jim McMurtry, the gang, James Davison, Drew Coover, who's become a friend of mine, they were holed up in the aquatic center, and everybody was like banging, like you'd see in a witch hunt, from the day. We don't want 1BC. We don't want you here. Blah 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 blah. And then if you go up and actually talk to people, they go, I'm not going to talk to you. Why aren't you going to talk to me? You're here protesting to your heart out. What you got to say about this? What do you think about residential schools? What they have no opinions. They don't know anything. And they're just there for nothing. And they're the most hostile people, the people on the left. They put things in your face. They try to ruin your shot. They blow the megaphone and all that. I don't like these people at all. They are worse. They are more violent than anything. And we have to honestly get rid of this. And it's going to take some real talk from our politicians, if even we believe in it. But what I'm saying to you is I don't think Canada is ready. I just think we're too liberal. We're too shy. We haven't evolved enough to be like, no, you're a boy. That's it.
So what's it going to take then? Time? Or I always say that whatever the United States does, good or bad, Canada follows generally 3 to 6 to maybe 12 months later. Do you think that people are going to start going along with it? I mean, like I said earlier, we are very Americanized here.
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
I don't think we're going along with it at all. Not until the CBC ever gets defunded, along with Global and CTV, where they have to become subscription services where you pay for them. That's the only way.
We are.
Yeah, that's it. That's the way. And I want access to the wires, to the feeds. I want access to whatever CPAC has. I think we need a network that does news, so we don't have to rely on the news. I would love to have an organization that has some reporters. I would love to run my own little mini newsroom. I can't. I mean, unless a millionaire invests in me, I would make that happen where we become a news source.
Yep.
But this is never going to happen until Global, CBC, CTV, CKVU, or no, what is it now? City TV, whatever. That if they don't start stepping up and doing it right, they will not. Then we're done. We are liberal. We're liberal. Okay, that's it. I don't have any expectations for this year that anything will be different.
All right. On that happy
and on
note.
that I really am a really upbeat, happy person. I really am.
We know you are. But you're speaking the truth. You're speaking the truth. People can find you on X, and they're watching on YouTube right now, on Facebook. Tell us where you're available.
Oh, I would love if you check out my YouTube channel. Anita K is how you find me, and I do most of my work on there. And I'm so happy to talk to you today, and I want to talk to you again if you come on my show too.
I'd love to. I always love to.
I know. Yeah, that'd be great.
I love you. You know this.
I love you too. You're a good man.
You're a good woman. Nothing like the love of a good woman. Anita, thank you for coming on tonight. We're going to do it again.
Everybody. Yeah. Okay. Thanks
Bye
so
for
much.
now.
Bye.
Anita Krishna. You guys go and find her and follow her. She's good people and she tells the truth. No, we had Yannicka on a couple of weeks ago. Now it's just me. Okay, a couple of things before I cut away to the all access at shadowdavis.com and the Shadow at Night community on Telegram. Are you guys following me on Substack yet? If you're not, you should be, because you can get a free, every night, free audio version of the show. Shadow Davis, just like it's spelled on the screen or behind me there. Shadow Davis, ShadoWDavis.substack.com. Go follow me there. You get a freebie. And if you're not a member, of the website, and you would like to see the show every weeknight at 8 o'clock. Oh, and by the way, next week, we're going to come back out here on social media and do an interview with Jeff Rath from the Alberta Prosperity Project and Stay Free Alberta. The left-wing corporate media has really been hitting hard on him lately. Bad. But he finds it funny. This Hour Has 22 Minutes did a thing on him last night. Pretty much, they tried to make him look stupid. It doesn't work for rational-minded people, but for those people Anita was describing, oh, they were laughing. So I sent that thing to him this morning. I didn't realize if it was brand new or not, and he hadn't seen it before. So he watched it. He laughed. He gave me a call after it was over, and we decided we were going to do a show together next week. So Jeff Rath from the Alberta Prosperity Project, Alberta Independence, will be joining the show next week. We'll be out here on social media doing that. But if you want to catch the show, weeknights at 8 o'clock, we're still on weeknights at 8 o'clock on the website. Just go to shadowdavis.com and become an all-access member. Just like that, you will have access to the show. And when you do that, also please join the Telegram group. I don't want to join Telegram. It's another app on my phone. Join Telegram. Okay? And then go find the Shadow at Night community. Go and join the community. There are great people there who share all kinds of really cool information you can't get on other platforms if you know what I'm talking about. And I think you do. We're going to cover in tonight's extension more on the Epstein files. There is some stuff. There's some stuff that's come out in the last couple of days that you may or may not be aware of. Has to do with jerky, has to do with pizza. And you know what? I'm not just spewing conspiracy theory here. You've got elected representatives in the United States who have seen these unredacted files, and they've come out on media and said this themselves. So we're going to explore that on the extension tonight on shadowdavis.com. I will see you there in just a couple of minutes. And for those of you not joining, I love you all. I appreciate you all. And I thank you for being here tonight. Have a great night, and I will catch you next week. All right. Bye for now.